Senator Scullion.
My question is to the Senator representing the Minister for Education, Senator Kim Carr. On the 23rd of July 2008, in a media release, the Honourable Julia Gillard, then Minister for Education, said, "This is an important step in meeting the government's commitment to at least halve the gap for Indigenous students in Year 12 or equivalent attainment rates by 2020. The new facilities will provide more than 150 beds across a range of accommodation styles. Our newspaper reports that the government will now not build 152 beds in 3 boarding hostels in the Northern Territory as promised, correct? Or is this just simply another broken promise?"
The Minister representing the Minister for School Education, Early Childhood and Youth, Senator Kim Carr.
I thank the Senator for his question. The Boarding Facilities Initiative is a response, I think as his quote indicated, to the clear gap in the provision of post-primary education for remote Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island students in the Northern Territory, and it builds upon initiatives to provide more opportunities and more choice for students. The policy also respects the fact that for remote Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in particular, connections to family and to land and to culture are central to their lives, and the provision of access to good quality schooling on country will help to fill the gap that otherwise has resulted in too many young remote people falling through the education cracks. And that's why the government has allocated $28.9 million towards the construction and operation of 3 new boarding facilities in remote locations in the Northern Territory to provide accommodation for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island secondary students from very remote communities and outstations. The initiative is also supported by a further capital contribution of $15 million for Indigenous Lands Corporation. Now, I think we'd all appreciate that the construction of these facilities faces many challenges, and I believe Senator Scullion would acknowledge that point, and that undertaking large capital works projects in very remote communities is always difficult. And the complexity of community consultations in that necessary to ensure that there are strong, broadly based community support adds a further dimension to the difficulties. And that the government does take its responsibilities seriously in this regard and has undertaken the necessary community consultations to ensure that there is a strong basis of community and other support. And that's a key element of this
expired,
initiative.
Senator Kim Carr. Senator Scullion.
Mr President, I'll take for that answer that no, they're not going to be built, and it is a broken promise. I wonder if the Minister is then able to answer a supplementary question. I understand the purpose of the school hostels was to give young people the opportunity to go to a school that at least meets the national secondary education standards. Is it true that the facility at Wadair, 20 out of 21 students boarding, are actually from the local community and attending the same school they would have attended in any event?
Order. The Minister. The Minister.
Yeah. I think that, Senator, you would be aware that the provision of the facilities at Wadair are extremely good. That the hostel arrangements have commenced operations, and that the staff of the boarding facilities conducted an orientation program for 25 prospective students in early December of 2012, and that it is equally true that the new experience for these remote families, and for some it takes, I think, an opportunity that they otherwise would not have. Now, it's not simply a case of saying that there is another facility in the region. It's about ensuring the successful completion of education programs, and I think that students and families at Wadair are entitled to a good education for them.
Order. Senator Kim Carr. Senator Scullion.
I just wondered if you could bring the. I know we only have 12 seconds, but my question was very simple. I wonder if there was an explanation why 20 of the 21 students that are currently living within metres of the boarding facility and are attending exactly the same school that they would have intended in any event somehow attempts to meet the motivation of the program.
Order. I do draw the minister's attention to the question. The minister.
Look, I think it's fair to say that there's an unfortunate fact of life is that many parents in the Wadeye community have missed out on a decent education.
Order. Time's expired. Order. Senator Scullion.
Thank you, Mr President. Why is the government wasting tens of millions on your unworkable plan, whilst Kormilda College in Darwin is having to turn away Indigenous boarders and close residential facilities because of a funding cut, a cut which will grow under the Gonski funding model?
The minister.
Well, Senator Scullion, I'm advised, Senator Cross has been only too happy to point out here to you directly that that claim is simply not the case. What we have said is that the planning for the construction, the ongoing operation of these facilities is being developed in close collaboration with the communities affected. And we will continue to work with those communities, and we will ensure that these facilities are well placed, well situated, they're well designed, and that they're well operated, and that they're supported by the local communities. And it's all very well for you to try to make petty points on this matter, but I think you appreciate how serious this issue is of ensuring that Indigenous people get a high-quality education in their communities, and that we have the opportunities for all Australians to actually benefit from education that they're entitled to. And so the sort of petty points that you are making here...
Time has expired, Senator Kim Carr.